Okay, YouTube. 2021 is almost over. Congrats on surviving. Or if you're watching this from beyond the grave, whoopsie. Yeah, I'm Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. This is my weekly comic book review show for the week of December 2029. Yeah, right? Yeah, 2029. 2021. That does not roll off the tongue. There's a lot of 20s in there. Yeah, I've read a lot of books. I'm going to let you know what I thought about them, and as always, I'm going to start with the worst and end with the best. So just fast forward to the end if you want to see what I liked. Please don't do that. That doesn't help my algorithms. Yeah, and if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. It really helps. Hit the like button. That also helps. And hit the notification bell so you know when my videos drop. Or if you want to buy some sick merch. It's not really sick merch. It's fine. It's all fine merchandise. Go to my website at taylorwinder.com. That helps too. And then I can afford to buy more crappy books. So I can read the crappy books and you don't have to read them. That's some kind of logic, right? All right, speaking of, we're starting with A King's Vengeance by Peter Reek. This, I don't know what the hell this is. It's not really even a story. It sort of plops you in the middle of something. Kind of. I mean, the cover is very cool. I don't think the cover is done by the interior artist. If it is, like they didn't put any effort in the interiors and spent all the time in the cover. And there's sort of a story here, but it sort of feels like you're like reading the end of a long tale. Like there seems like there should be about 40 issues before this, and this is like the last issue, but it's not. It's the first issue. I think it's a one-shot. And maybe there's more to it. Maybe this is a weird beginning to a story, but it is such a bizarre, short, non-thing that I just don't care at all. Like I was baffled after reading. I'm like, that's this. That's how you're starting this, or that's what like it just made me question everything I knew about humanity. So I guess it's the best book ever. It's not. All right, speaking of not the best book ever, we have Crime Destroyer. This is another frustrating one. It was, first of all, it's $8. I grabbed it on the whim because the cover looked kind of indie and interesting, and it is indie and interesting. It wants to be an over-the-top satire, I think, on superheroes and religion and a lot of stuff and violence, and I don't know, but it's just kind of weirdly pussyfooting around this with a nonsensical story that's just not told very well. The art doesn't do it any favors. There's panels where you're like that are just very confusing, even though it's like a very minimal style where you're like, but still the transition from panel to panel, from page to page. Sorry, words, they are hard, folks. I really thought that some of this was put together in the wrong order. Like pages were just shipped out of order, and like after going back and looking through it again, I don't think that's the case. It's just a bizarre way of telling a story and a bizarrely jarring, chopped up way of doing it. I mean, this was a thick boy book, probably about 48 pages, and it still feels like it needs more room to breathe or some decent editing or a bit of all of the above. It had potential. Like I like the idea of the crime destroyer and the stupid ass costume with the fists and the shoulder plates and stuff, but it didn't really seem to know what it wanted to be. It started off with like pilgrims, like incels or voluntary incels, I don't know, whatever, blowing up things, and then there was a priest and a boy and lots of anti-religion stuff in here. I'm down with all that. I don't care about that. It's just the way the story was told was just not more nonsensical than it should have been, if that makes any sense. Nonsensical that makes sense. I don't know. Whatever. All right. This one. What the hell's this title? Introduction for Making a Proper Offering to Forgotten Gods. A Jim the Knight adventure. Behemoth Studios. This is another one where I don't know what the hell. Like it seemed like it wanted to be 3 different things at once. A cartoony adventure, a sort of night story, and then like another thing, but it's just kind of none of it meshed together, and none of the story was cohesive. There's just a lack of cohesion on this, where you're like, like you didn't. There's nothing in there for me to bite onto to like want to continue reading this. Like there's sort of a protagonist, this guy who I don't think is actually named Jim in the book, so I don't know who the hell Jim the Knight is. Maybe it is. Maybe I just didn't care enough. Maybe Richard, Jim. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like honestly. I don't know why this exists in this form, and like it just feels like it should have been edited or longer or told in a trade or just something else to it because like it had like a nugget, like a little nugget of something. We're like, oh, that could be kind of fun, but then it just got bogged down in like weird storytelling again. Like I don't know what the hell they were trying to do in like the first three of these. I could probably say the same thing about all three of these. Like I don't know what in God's name they were trying to do, or get a God's name religious book. I just don't know. Like it was a baffling. And these are baffling books to me. Like, just bizarre. All right. Next, we have Echolands number 5. This is a gorgeous book. I've sung its praises before. It's J. H. Williams, W. Hayden, Blackman, Dave Stewart on the coloring, Todd Klein on the lettering. This is going to get pushed to a trade paperback weight for me, though, because, like, the story itself, there's just not enough meat to the story for me to, like, give a shit from month to month. I think it'll probably read better as a trade paperback, and I'm hoping it does get collected at some point because it's going to be worth it. It's got this interesting idea of like fantasy and worlds melding and stuff, but it's just the way they're telling the story. Just it stopped hooking me, and like, it's one of those like you read it now. I feel like I should go back and reread all the rest of them to try and figure out what the hell's going on, and that's not an appealing thing for me in a month-to-month title. It's just I think it's okay. I think it's like I said, it's probably the most beautifully illustrated book of the week, or up there anyways. But the story alone, it's like I'm gonna wait on this one. So I've got this is issue number 5. We've got the first 5 issues, and from here on out, I'm just gonna hope they collect it in some kind of volume, because it's just it's an expensive book, and it probably deserves it. But just the way the story is told is not gripping me from month to month. All right, next. One of several Jeff Lemire books on this list this week. Black Hammer Reborn, number 7. This is the Black Hammer is Jeff's superhero universe, an homage, a love story, a tribute, a what have you, to the Silver Age and Golden Age of like comic books and stuff. And this is part of it. You get Talkie Walkie, this robot. You get the Paradimension, Parademon, I can't remember what it's called. Then there's an idea of a multiverse being presented, and a big bad guy that's kind of galactic us-ish or Celestials-ish or a tribute to several of those things. And like you just like when you read this, if you have any sense of the history of DC and Marvel, have read any of DC and Marvel's older big event books. I'm talking like Crisis on Infinite Earth and probably earlier. This wears those influences on its sleeve. It's a fine story. I do not really love the art by Malachi Ward or Matthew Sheen. I think Caitlin Yarsky's art, who did the cover and did the first couple issues of this, was fantastic. And I think the book lacks a bit from that. Jeff does play into the artist's strengths when he's writing a book. He's an artist himself, so I think he gets it. And like, it's not necessarily weak, but just like when the art lines up with the story and the Black Hammer world is fantastic. Like Dean Ornstrom on the first Black Hammer story, the main Black Hammer universe story, was fantastic, and then the fill-in artists were not so great. And these fill-in artists, they're okay, but they're weirdly colored, and they just don't quite have the emotional punch or the chops that Caitlin Yarsky has. So I'm looking forward. I'm hoping Caitlin Yarsky makes a return. I know I've said her name in it like 14 times in this review of this issue, but I'm hoping she makes a return in the next one. It's still solid enough. We are in like the fine plus section of things. So, oh yeah, Stray Dogs. You might have heard of it, right? Took the world by storm, the indie sensation of 2021. And I was looking to see if these dogs had any new tricks. By dogs, I mean the writers. Writer and artist, Fleeks and Forstner. They don't. I mean, this is good. It's a solid. But I was hoping for a different storyline or a brand new arc or what instead. Like another, like, hey, yeah, let's tell like a weird, like, sort of gross story from a different dog's point of view and have a whole new adventure, right? That's not this. This is a series of vignettes of small, mostly parts of stories of how the other strays from the first volume of Stray Dogs ended up at the one house. And for what it is solid. It's just not exactly what I was hoping for. So, if you want to pick it up, it's 2 issues. I'm guessing issue number 2 will be more of the same, or it'll be part 2 of some of the first dog stories, because there wasn't really a lot of resolution. But I can't remember how many dogs were initially at the first dog's house. I don't want to spoil it if you've not read that volume. But that's kind of what this is. It doesn't seem like a super necessary thing to the main story, to be honest. And unless like these all branch out into different Dogiverse stuff, it's you can honestly probably skip it. All right, remember Civil War or Civil War 2 or Civil War 3 or the Marvel, the Captain America Civil War or any of those? Yeah, that's what Devil's Reign is again. It's Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto. Gorgeous. And actually, it's a solid book by Zdarsky, but he's just not treading a lot of new ground. Superheroes are being forced to not be super, and there's anti-superhero acts, and Captain America arrested, and the Fantastic Four arrested, and arrested, and arrested, and arrested, and underground superheroes are going to fight back against Thunderbolts or another team of supervillains, right? It's been done before. This time it's just Kingpin in charge of doing it, and there's like a cool wrinkle to what Kingpin's doing and stuff. And he's Kingpin. He's machination. He's got evil machinations. He's got a backup plan thingy. He has parts and things put together to form a scheme. It's okay. It's decent. I'll keep up with it because it's a solid enough read, but like it's just not treading a lot of new ground. So it's in the middle of the pack. All right. Next we have Robin number 9. This sort of wraps up the Lazarus Island story arc. Josh Williamson and et al. Cruise on art, I think. I don't know, whatever. This is what happens when a writer gets to play around with a character that not many people give a shit about, and can just do whatever the hell he wants, and it's fun. This is like a very fun superhero book. Josh Williamson is making Damon Wayne more interesting, a little less douchey, a little more human, and having a great time doing it. And the Lazarus Island story thing, it's just been a blast. It's like, put Robin on an island and have Mortal Kombat and like learn some valuable life lessons along the way. It's not going to change the world. It's probably not going to do much of anything else. But it's just if you're looking for like a good, solid, fun superhero book, which it seems like those are fairly few and far between nowadays, I'd recommend Robin. It's one of those. Okay, next we have the future of the Marvel Universe revealed. It's Timeline. It's a one-shot with Kang the Conqueror, who's going to be the big baddie in the MCU. And man, Marvel's really working hard to make him a big baddie in the Marvel comic universe again. This is Jen McKay, who and it's a one-shot. It's a one story of Kang and how Kang wants to be known as the baddest of them all. And there's the hook in there is actually, it's kind of ridiculous, but it sort of makes sense. And the story's kind of ridiculous, but it sort of makes sense. It's a time travel-y kind of story. And there's nonsense to it, and there's timey-wimey stuff. And worlds colliding, Jerry. Worlds colliding, there's multiversal elements, and there's a 2-page spread in here that gives some hints of Marvel's future. It's not like the solicits made it sound like it was going to be, oh my god, you need to read this so you know what's coming down the Marvel pipeline. No. There's like one panel for several different, like, each hero sort of gets one panel. Not every hero either. There's like 7 or 8 panels, maybe not even that many, that have a hint as to something that's coming down. So if you want a little hint of things that might or might not happen, pick up Timeless. I mean, it's solid. I got the other cover as well, the Miss Minutes variant cover. I like that better. I just didn't grab it for this video. So, Timeless. All right, The Death of Doctor Strange, number 4. This is the penultimate issue, the second to last issue of this thing. It's Jed McKay again. I get why they're making this. Like you need to have like probably an ongoing series of Doctor Strange if you're Marvel and you have Doctor Strange coming out in a few months. And right now that doesn't exist. So what better way to do it than to kill him right off the bat and then reboot? And that's what this is looking like it's going to be. It's going to be a reboot to the Doctor Strange world. You learn who killed him in this one, so there's that. You learn sort of why he died, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's an entertaining Doctor Strange story, and it's with Doctor Strange being Doctor Strange, even though he's dead. And you'll find out in the first 3 issues how that happens. But it's a very Doctor Strange-y kind of thing. And it's got the weirdness, it's got the mysticism, it's got the fantasy you want in a bizarre-ass, strange adventures, or strange tales, or strange whatever story. It shouldn't have probably been an event. You could have just set up like a brand new ongoing series with this, but it probably wouldn't have had the minor buzz it had. And it's a cool cover too. So I mean, it's decent. I hope they let Jed McKay write the actual Doctor Strange series if it does come out of this, because he's one of Marvel's only solid writers right now. There's maybe 2 or 3, but most of them are hot garbage. All right, now this first issue of this Daisy. This is Daisy number 2 by Colin Lorimer with Joanna Levante. This was my pick of the week when the first issue came out. This issue is not as strong as the first issue. This is number 2 of 5. It's a weird story of like apocrypha, biblical stuff, and fallen angels and giants, sort of set in modern day world, and you still don't really know what's going on. It's like there's not enough in either of the first 2 issues to really get let in and to figure out stuff, but it's an interesting enough mystery. It's still a solid number 2. It just dipped a bit from number 1, and there I think it was probably a stronger week this week, where a couple of these other books just really knocked it out of the park. And this, well, I'm going to keep up with this for sure. It's like I said, it's very interesting, and it's moody, and it's playing around with some religious ideas that I've not seen played around quite this way before. So we will see what happens with this one. This is going to be the one where like it could be month to month, just because like it's such a weird ass thing. But I'm hooked so far. So Daisy number 2, Dark Horse Press. Dark Horse, whoever bought Dark Horse, please, I don't know, some company, foreign company bought Dark Horse. Please fix their paper quality. This is still hot garbage. All right, we got a couple left. Next, Swamp Thing, Green Hell, Prestige, Black Label, DC, Spot Colory. I like this cover, but this spot color and the spot varnish on this is not doing a whole lot. This is Jeff Lemire with art by Doug Mahnke and coloring by David Barron, I believe. It's a gorgeous book. I mean, it's Doug Mahnke's an old pro and doing old pro stuff, and scribbly and dark and horrific, and big spreads and bombastic. This is Black Label is where these writers get to play around and artists play around outside the continuum in DC, which happens all the damn time anyways. I don't know why some are Black Label, some are not. I like this format for this book, though. I think it really helps the art. And Swamp Thing's one of my favorite characters. And Jeff Lemire is writing a pretty dark story that does involve Swamp Thing. It's the end of the world. Humanity is fighting amongst itself and about to go extinct. And the rot and the green and the red, which are the 3 big universal entities that are sort of established in the Swamp Thing world, are all trying to help speed along humanity to its demise, because we've messed up the planet and screwed it all up, and our day is done. And that's the start of this tale. I don't want to wreck it for you. It does have a fairly predictable reveal at the end. At least I'm predictable if you've ever read anything Swamp Thing before. But it's solid. It's well done. It's Jeff Lemire, and yeah. It's a 3-issue thing. It's gonna end up probably being, I'm guessing, just a very solid Swamp Thing story. It's not gonna be earth shattering. It's not gonna change the world. It's probably not gonna change much anything else, because it is Black Label, but it's cool. So, and it's Jeff Lemire. All right, 2 left. We have Ice Cream Man number 27, the Morphomedesis. Okay. This doesn't require, but it's helpful if you have knowledge of Kafka, who is this Czechoslovakian writer who wrote The Metamorphosis, which is a man turning into a bug. It's an allegory, it's an allegorical tale. I've never actually read it, but I believe it had some political implications and some other things that are going on with like trial, and it could be mixing a bunch of shit together. If you've read The Metamorphosis, let me know in the comments down below and let me know how much I just butchered that. But this is the Morphomedesis. This is a cockroach that gets turned into a man, and it is glorious. It's everything you want in a weird-ass Ice Cream Man story. W. Maxwell Prince says, I need to go back and read the first 23, 24 issues, because I've not. I started late in the game, but the nice thing about the Ice Cream Man is each issue is self-contained, and you don't really need to, read any of the others. So you can just pick one up and read it, and well, that's a weird-ass story, but it's really kind of cool. Martín Morazzo's art is very light as far as line work and stuff, but it really fits, and lets there's room for Prince and Morazzo work well together. Prince lets Morazzo's art breathe, and Morazzo's art, on the other hand, does not overwhelm the writing. So, and it fits together like a well-worn, horrific glove. This is not necessarily a horror story, as some of them are. It's just kind of a bizarre story about humanity and life and modern life and possibly about the horrors of modern life and what like being human really does to one's soul. But I really dug it. It's my second favorite book of the week. It could have been my favorite. Any of these top three probably could have been swapped out. But the next book, I think, just knocked it out of the park and ended everything on the top scale. That's May's book number 5. I have my top 10 video like out, and if I remember, I'll leave a link. I probably won't. Just look at my top 10 videos of the year, top 10 of the year, and you'll see my top 10 books of the year. I did not have May's book on here because when I made that video, that it had not ended, and it's hard for me to judge a story without it ending. This is the ending to the May's book story. It is Jeff Lemire, written and illustrated, and it's a man searching for his lost daughter that succumbed to cancer years ago, and this man is convinced the daughter's living in the middle of a maze, and he's trapped in the maze of life and the mundanity of it all, and like going through the motions and sad and depressed and lonely, and just repeating his cycle every day until he thinks his daughter's calling out to him in his dreams, and he goes on the hunt for her in the center of a maze. That's the premise for the book. This is the conclusion of that. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it is a very satisfying conclusion. And upon reflection of it, after reading it, I was like, yes, that's the perfect way this should have ended. It's not I don't want to give away the tone of the ending, but it fits everything up until this point. And it's like, I will say, I think it probably is going to read great for folks that read all 5 at once. It also, I did not have an issue, I didn't have an issue, get it? Comic book issue. I'll see myself out momentarily. I didn't have a problem with the month-to-month on this one either, because it's broken up into fairly easy to follow chapters, and it was easy enough for me to pick up from month to month and remember what was going on, because it's fairly light on plot, but it's heavy on emotion, heavy on really great art by Jeff Lemire if you like his art. If you do not, your opinion on that will probably differ. But I thought this was just a tremendous ending to this series, and it probably would have been either the top 3 or 4 of my books of the year if I would have had this last week before I recorded the video. So there is that, and that's about all I've got, folks. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books or if I missed some or whatever. It's the last one of these for 2021, so I am gonna get out of here, and I'll see y'all in 2022. Don't be a dick, even if the world's ending and the swamp thing wants to kill you, or you're trapped in a maze, or you're a bug that got turned into a person. Just don't be a dick about it. See ya.